So, what does it mean to be your true self in form, in the highest version of you? Where do we look for that? How do we find you in the real world? Let's find out here. Hello, dear one. This is Sasa recording a message from Gaia today. I know that when we step into our true self, everything starts to make sense. This is the pathway to 5D reality. This is a pathway to higher awareness. This is a pathway to growing your business. This is the pathway to expanding your work in any way, your life, your journey, your pathway into abundance. It is the path to healing so much, is true self expansion. The reason we focus on that in my work, especially with Gaia present, is because nothing can get in the way when you are truly yourself. The world moves out of your way when you are absolutely attuned to your true nature. And I have a spirit guide that I talk about sometimes. It is David Bowie. And he absolutely knew how to make his way as himself in life. That is funny because it constitutes him playing with personalities and archetypal energies and things like that. But he absolutely, in his own time, was truly who he actually was at any given moment. And I'm sure that many anecdotes could line that up. People who've known him, met him, and spent time with him. He was always in touch with his true nature. And that changed over the course of his life, interestingly. He absolutely adjusted his reality, is what he's telling me now. He adjusted his reality and his self moved into that reality. So it's a fascinating observance that we can create a new reality and then step into it and become that person who is more of us, who is more aligned with our true nature. And your true nature is a new reality. Your true nature is the next level of you, is how I put that in coaching terms, the next level of you when I am coaching. And when I'm spiritually coaching, I would say your next awakened self. So that is you waking up into your true nature by creating a realm of possibility that you step into. This can be called your vortex of creation by thanks to Abraham Hicks for that term. So you could be spinning around your vortex and then stepping into it more fully. And that is how the reality changes around you. And then you change your life, your sense of who you are expands. And it doesn't necessarily change who you are in a sense that you become a new person. In fact, you might be playing with archetypes and stepping into more archetypal. The archetype mix is how David's putting it. The sense of I can take a little bit from this archetype. I can take a little bit from this archetype. I can move into a field of inquiry around new earth principles. I can step into my whole relationship with the world from a new angle. I can move into a reality where life begets life, where life opens a path for new ideas, new directions, and new possibilities, or as I like to say, new probabilities, because the vortex isn't a place of all possibility. It's a place of potential reality. And you create those realities all the time. You create possible futures. You create potent possible futures for your true nature to exist, for you to move into not just being aspirational, but arriving at your destination over and over again versus journey work, always journeying, always journeying, always journeying. And not to say that we don't go on journeys, definitely we do. I just don't want everyone to be journey obsessed to the point where we never arrive. We never look at life as a place of arrival. We look at it as a place of, well, it's always a journey, not the destination. Well, actually, my friends, I want to suggest that we have destinations as well. So, Do you absolutely aspire to your true nature? I'm assuming yes. And when you step into that nature, all the things that you want start to become visible. They start to manifest. You start to adopt the attitude that everything can be real, that you can do what you want, that you can observe reality into the conditions that you aspire to. And interestingly, the word aspire has the word aspire in it. So it's a spire that you travel up to, and there is a top. So you get to the top. You have the tools and resources to get to the top of the spire versus being on the lower rungs waiting for it to manifest. You absolutely move forward regardless. You know that the path will reveal itself as you step forward, as you move, constitutes decision making actually, and being decisive and choosing to work on the next thing, to take it on, to say, I know that if I become whole, then I can get what I need. So it's interesting because the idea between here and there is, well, how do I get whole? Where's the wholeness at? Well, we've got the opportunity to arrive in wholeness in this moment, to meditate, to nap, to walk, to ride a bike, to roller skate, to do whatever it takes to get into your true self so that you can find your wholeness, so you can relate to yourself as a whole person. And we want to stay in wholeness versus fixing energy, where we try to fix ourselves, because it's funny. I want to talk about brokenness a little bit. And the fact of the matter is, I never believed in brokenness until I felt like life broke me. And I don't know if you can relate to that. I wondered about it after that, and guides suggest that we get fractured, not necessarily broken. And we might have fractures that are healing right now. And they're going to hold space for you to heal any fractures that you have in your field right now, so that you can support yourself and others from a place of wholeness and alignment and true nature witnessing and expansion. Because that's what we're calling forward here, is your true self expansion, your true nature manifested in form. And I don't know why this story is coming to mind. I'm going to share an unrelated story, but my guides say it's related somehow, so we're going to start with this. I have these boots that are now worn down. They're kind of short top, high top boots. They're not like super high top, and they have a kind of a gunmetal sheen to them, a gunmetal gray sheen to them. And those were my magic shoes. I always would joke, these are shoes that Tilda Swinton would wear, so I will wear them too. And a side story is fun. When I bought them, they had these interlocking circles all over the sole of the shoes. That was really pretty pattern. And I thought pretty edgy and cool. Part of the reason I bought them, because they were very interesting. And I wore them out. I just wore them out. They're all scuffed now. I still have them, and I still wear them sometimes because they're so fantastic, and I associate magic with them. And I kept pondering if I would, well, first of all, let me come back to the interlocking circles. So one day I looked down and I was watching the shoes change, and no longer were they in interlocking circles on the soles of the shoes. It was numbers and letters. And of course I laughed about it. It's a Mandela effect happening, where things change, timelines change. This is kind of a timeline change, even though the object changed. And in the new timeline, someone had chosen a different option for the sole of the shoe. And I imagined that the timeline was changing because this was a bolder, more awakened decision to put something like that on the bottom of the shoes. So I was trying to surmise why the change would have happened. Anyway, so these shoes are literally magic shoes. I observed magic happening with the shoes, and I had already thought of them as magic shoes, so it was pretty phenomenal that they changed. And as I said, I worn them out, and I kept thinking, how am I going to get these refurbished. I would love to go to a cobbler and get them to shine them up, but how are they going to match the paint? And will it look odd? Will it mess with my shoes? I still want some shiny silver shoes. And I went to a resale store yesterday, and I I love shopping at resale stores. And you know, I've been wanting to manifest these shoes for a while, but I just don't know where to look for any. And I found some sneakers. I've been like obsessed with getting sneakers that were silver, and I'm wearing them right now. I'm tempted to show you, but I won't show you. They're saying show you anyways. I'll take off one of my shoes and show you. Why not? So anyways, these are my new silver shoes, and they're brand new, and they're magic too. And I manifested them. And I think, I love telling stories like this because it's just evidence that we can get what we need on every level. It does even something as silly as wanting my magic. They're teasing me for calling it silly because this is serious business. My silver magic shoes. I now have a brand new pair of silver shoes now. Am I get rid of my other shoes? No. And in fact, I might feel more brave about getting them fixed and see if someone can match the paint color if possible. But it goes to show that we can make anything happen. And it's fun because they were not only the perfect shoes, brand new, a color that I liked, and the style of sneaker that I like, but they were my size too, right? So that was pretty remarkable. That I even saw them was pretty remarkable because I was quickly scanning the aisle to see what might be there. And, here I found exactly what I was looking for. I didn't know I was looking for those shoes still. So what does that have to do with the self? Well, knowing your true self, knowing who you are, what you like, what you're into, what you find freeing is absolutely the pathway into more. So you get to observe your interests, your fascinations, your curiosities, your whimsical side. In my case, deciding that my silver shoes are magic shoes. I feel like I'm casting spells when I wear them. And my guys say I am, actually. In fact, I had some good things happen after I put my shoes on. I thought, my shoes are doing a good job. So, whimsy is also very key. What is whimsical for you? Give yourself permission to be silly. And it's very serious business being silly, okay? So, not serious business. It is serious business being silly. You get to be yourself. You get to be whole. That is part of wholeness, is when you allow things to show up in your life that are meant for you. They're in your vortex of creation. They are meant for a powerful healer to come into the space. Whoa, someone's listening who's a healer, and you definitely have a 5D aspect. So I'm guessing it's more than one person listening to this, or they wouldn't have brought it up probably in this particular situation. But listen for your power coming through, because you trying to be anybody but you is not going to work. So be yourself. Okay. Message sent. So everyone here absolutely has prowess in some area too that you can apply to your life to create a new reality that you can create your new self in, or the rest of you. And what David wanted to say about creating his whole self in life is that he grew incrementally over time, and his reality shifted in accordance with his ability to, he says, interestingly, to face his inner demons and work on his shadow. And so he did spend a lot of time in introspection and self-reflection, which you may or may not understand. He said, you may or may not understand me as that person, but I absolutely was that person and still am where I stand. And he involved himself in his interests completely. He never shied away from what he was curious about. He read voraciously. He adopted the attitude that he had co-creators in the world who are absolutely on board with his vision. So he didn't do everything in a vacuum. He had support. And that reality he created by being vulnerable with people about what he desired. He actually shared his vision with people before he was ready to. Sometimes he moved in a particular, toward an outlet of creativity on faith alone, not knowing not worrying in his case about financial success or not market success, so to speak. Um, the marketplace caring about his work, he absolutely was true to himself. He says most of the time. There are a couple of instances where he says he wasn't as true to himself. He was playing with the notion of creating pop culture. What is he saying? Being a pop culture, he was joking about being a one-hit wonder at the time. He was trying to develop songs like that we love, like Modern Love and Let's Dance, and those pop songs. He was mastering the pop song, and gosh, did he ever? And sometimes people joke that that was his sellout period, which I don't have a problem with selling out. I think if you sell out of records, that's great. So just a little turn on the word sellout there. But he absolutely was aligned with his curiosity even then, because his curiosity was, can I do this? And he did. So he doesn't love the rest of the work that he did around that time, and that's well documented. But he did actually enjoy the process of creating, and he never stopped doing what he loved. And we all have the option to explore our curiosities fully and to step forward into the true witnessing of ourselves in form in what? Our creative outpourings. So that's a little side note about stepping into your true self, creating a new reality that you can walk within and enjoy. It's like moving the boundary out of what you get to be further and further and further out until you're stepping into the new earth entirely. And that's the ultimate goal. Thank you for listening. It's such a treat to share these messages, and I enjoy it immensely. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for reaching out. And just so you know, I have a beautiful free gift. You can see it in the description below. I would love to share that with you. Sign up and you will receive 3 free master classes that I put together for the Ganesha Freedom Process. And follow me on Instagram. I would love to share this path with you in any way I can. And obviously, please do like and subscribe if you want to get more content like this. Alrighty, my friend, take care of yourself, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day.